What's up, guys? Welcome to Bible study this week. We are in the book of James, chapter 5. We're going to go through verses 1 through 12 and see what he has for us. Now, most of the book of James is actually written to believers, but this week he pauses for the first 6 verses to talk to the unbelievers, specifically the wealthy, and he's actually pronouncing judgment on them. So check out what he says here in James chapter 5 verses 1 through 6. He says, "Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming upon you. Your wealth has rotted and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded, and their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages you have failed to pay the workmen who mowed your fields are actually crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered innocent men who were not opposing you." So James is calling these rich, wealthy, people who are not following God to weep and to mourn and to wail because their wealth is worthless to them in the day of judgment. He says that their wealth has corroded, it's rotted. In the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon actually writes, and he says, wealth is meaningless. It's a chasing after the wind because it doesn't get you anywhere, right? In verse 5, he says, "You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourself in the day of slaughter." So yeah, sure, you lived well here on earth, right? But death awaits you, and eternity is before you, and your wealth isn't going to get you anywhere in eternity, right? So what good is a wealthy life? What good is all this chasing after stuff and materialism? He says, you condemned, you hoarded your wealth, you murdered others to gain your riches, but these things can't save you. Only Christ can save you. Now, James then switches back in verses 7 through 12, and he kind of takes a different tone with the believers. He's encouraging them. This is what he says, verse 7 through 12. He says, "Be patient then, brothers, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, and how patient he is for the autumn and spring rains. You too, be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. Don't grumble against each other, or you will be judged, because the judge is standing at the door. Brothers, as an example of patience in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. As you know, we consider blessed those who have persevered. You have heard of Job's perseverance and have seen what the Lord finally brought about in his life. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. Above all, my brothers, do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, or you will be condemned." So, man, I see so many young people, so many guys in particular, that are running here and there. They're chasing after all of these different things. They're trying to get a new car or a better job, make more money. They're trying to get more followers, and they have to do all these like pinky swears and promises and all this stuff because their word is actually worthless. They have no character, right? And that's kind of what he's saying. It's like, I'm calling you to a different style of living, a different style of life. Now, I'm not saying be lazy, right? Look at verse 7 where he talks about the farmer. He says, "See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop and how patient he is," right? So the farmer isn't lazy. He's not doing nothing, but he's patient and he's dependent on the Lord, right? That's the life that we are called to James is saying, I want you to be patient. I want you to depend on the Lord. I want you to persevere. Why? Because the Lord's coming back. So what matters is your heart, not your bank account. What really matters is your character, not the clothes you wear or the car that you drive, right? What matters is your dependence on Jesus. So Judgment Day is coming, right? The judge is standing at the door. The Lord is near. And you're not judged based on your wealth. You're not judged based on what you wear or the luxury that you lived your life in. You're judged on what you do with God's gift. You're judged based on what you do with God's Son, Jesus. Do you accept him? Have you fully given your life to him? Do you depend on Jesus? Are you faithfully following after Christ? Are you persevering in your submission to Christ? This is the challenge for the week. Be patient, because eternity is coming. And true wealth, which is only found in dependence on Christ, true wealth will be revealed. So be patient. I'll see you guys next week.